for the moment, things are at least calm. You have some freedom of action, and it will be Sunday. And for purposes of Sunday, I have a couple of roles to check on. Okay. What is everybody doing on Sunday? Mur, are you going to go and connect with the police? I believe you said you would.
Yes, he's going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Nina, you're being called in, as is everybody, right? To as soon as possible, basically. They recognize it's Sunday morning, so you can come in when you want, but as soon as you can, please.
I should do that.
Say that again, Eileen?
Is this to the police to...
Not to Silverlanson, but to Nina as an employee of the police.
Oh, right.
Right. So the staff are being called in, everybody especially involved with records and administration, because an enormous amount of information now has to get collated.
Oh, look at all these books we got from this person connected to the network.
Yeah, unfortunately, the books are not very helpful. As you know, the fact that they're weird, though, is worth noting. The four fellows in question, after a great deal of confusions about and stubbornness on their part regarding languages, it's going to take all day before they're able to get statements out of these guys. And so I'll tell you what those statements are by the end of the day, depending on what happens. So here are some things that are very useful. First of all, the bad news is that Madoyan is, of course, a philanthropic businessman who's here precisely to work with law enforcement to arrive at, there's concerns about, human trafficking, and he is purported to be some sort of expert or some sort of consultant about this. And so therefore he is here to help Swedish authorities about this thing. And it's just kind of a coincidence. I mean, here he is. He's shocked as anyone that these members of his own staff would be, somehow gallivanting around Norrköping in some way. And I'm hope that you use every available resource to discover, how these. I'll check with my ends to see how they could possibly have gotten past our security, arrangements. But they were a very secondary, auxiliary part of my staff. Nobody important. I didn't even know their names.
And even publicly, he's like a businessman from, Armenia.
Yes, he is.
Azerbaijan.
Yes, he is. He's so, yeah. So all of you are like grinding your teeth, of course, at any at any such interaction. But that's his story, and he's sticking with it. There are a couple of other interesting points. It was going to take a little while. That's why I soft played it last time. But remember how Silverlanson was going to be, or Nina was going to be going through all sorts of evidence for possible weapons storage. Remember how some things you'd found thrown away, like some pills and stuff, clearly showing that the street level of the network is not all on board anymore. And the same thing applies here. Yes, a fairly nasty cache of Semtex has been unearthed. Old school Semtex. Wow, 80s. And so, but what's really alarming is how easy it's like literally been made push button. Plant, signal, done. I mean, in response to a radio signal, which would, of course, be just calling a phone number. All you have to do is send a text and it'll blow up. So somebody made this super freaking easy for anyone to use.
Yeah, I was also personal interest, whatever the
Right.
bomb maker.
It probably got discovered by neighborhood people and turned into and turned in. Because those guys have been combing. They've spent the last 48 hours combing their entire family and professional and kinship networks exactly to root out exactly these things.
Mm.
So the effort that you guys made with the neighborhood has been paying off. As well as, of course, their own motivations. So like Moore's work with the religious people and stuff like that, Rune Vivindens, positive interactions with the people, and a general sense of they were energized, right, by all of those interactions. So they did double time on all this stuff, and it's showing up today.
Mm.
This is going to be depressing. What is being unearthed, and this is some personal interactions as well. If you would like to know, the teens in question are named Johan, Maria, Josephine, Mirna, and Fatima. Have all been self-identified now as people who were being effectively groomed to carry out a variety of extremely violent acts. The fact that they were vulnerable to this in the first place is not something you reverse with just one day. But they were the trigger people. And that has been stopped. You have managed to shut that down.
Yeah.
Which is huge, right? You have prevented violent crimes. You prevented a local conspiracy, all sorts of things. So basically going and being nice to church people and teenagers and stuff like that has been like 20 times more effective than beating up some goon. Or 1,000 times more effective. But here's the thing. What they're starting to uncover is that that there was already in place basically a chaos switch through online manipulations to murder some people, silence others, create chaos, and to close paths of investigation. Somebody really knew what they were doing. And you only feel as though you scratched the surface. Let's get some police work and effort going here. We're talking about reason, intuition. What sort of things is Nina going to throw her efforts into?
Well, I think that I was initially thinking, following up on Hiba, but she genuinely does not care in the light of like these, both the bomb maker and these like whatever organized, very deliberate method of trying to like stop an investigation cold by selective assassination and sort of creating a smoke screen in a way. Yeah. Quite literally in some ways, probably.
Exactly. I have looked up some depressing and horrifying things. I have learned about assaults, kidnappings, torture, and homicides spilling into the smaller cities of Europe, especially in places like Sweden, setting up violent actions remotely. Let's see. Extortion-related violence increasingly takes place online with intimidation tactics, including the threat of releasing sensitive data, divulging personal data, personal conversations or images, blocking other services, cyberbullying, verbal intimidation. All these things apparently have been going on rather scientifically for a while. Partly to create a set of vulnerable individuals targeted for these actions. Violence is occasionally used by criminal networks to secure their infiltration into legal business structures, going hand in hand with corruption, ensuring corrupt actors remain compliant. The shipping in particular, and shipping into Norrköping, has been contaminated. That's what you guys are discovering. Let's see here. Executors of violence appear to have little knowledge of the intended victims and their physical surroundings prior to a hit or assassination. In other words, none of these kids knew any of their targets or had any reason to deal
Yeah.
with them. There's a couple of online group chats where these things are sort of organized and instigated that are being uncovered. This leads to shorter time frames to set up the violence than in the past. In the past, this would have taken a lot of, a lot of setup. Now it doesn't have to do that. Badly informed and inexperienced perpetrators increase the threat of causing collateral damage as well. Let's see. The violence is carried out by violent youth groups and street gangs, but also by young people groomed and recruited for this purpose via social media and messaging applications. The extent to which this has been hitting Norrköping in the last few months is beyond anything anyone expected in our game. They literally, you were literally days away from a real meltdown. If Vordal had not messed up the network's activities, somebody like Madoyan coming in would have basically created scorched earth and been able to start from scratch with nobody being able to see what he was doing now. So the question is, how much of this can you stop? At the moment, how is each of you or any of you going to help to do this? Nina is obviously going to help to do it professionally, correct?
Yeah.
Mer will help as well. I did get my red reason roll while checking the plates on the car last
Correct.
turn.
Yes, you did.
So whatever information I got from that, I'm gonna bring that in and just trying being there, looking at it like my experience, okay.
Right. Well,
What
technically
makes sense?
speaking, that car was merely something that they had appropriated from the fleet that Madoyan was using. So they could just say, "Oh, these guys just ripped it off in an unauthorized way, so too bad." But what the red result does is allow some tracking that they did not cover for. So therefore, you might be able to prompt the police to get further with that investigation than they would have thought possible.
All right.
Probably by being able to identify the driver and the registrant for the car. Probably being able to identify them better than it would seem possible. Christian, I think your image has,
Yeah, I think it.
Okay,
touched USB.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm saying is that yes, that track, what you instigated by by checking with the plate, surprisingly turned up. It was like it led to a breadcrumb trail, and so that's beyond your control. It's that's beyond Mer's specific control, but it branches and branches and branches into a breakthrough for the police. So that's.
I'm thinking because Madoyan has a public company, a real company that actually owns the cars and whatever. That should be an avenue to approach anyway.
Well, correct, but the point is that it's the combination between one of the perpetrators. They're able to put a bunch of information together that no one could have done. No one path could have done. They probably were able to actually identify this guy and discover, his record. It could also be that the fellow who Kevin got to talk probably is going to flip and tell them everything.
Yeah.
So that role that you got makes him far more valuable, right, than they were.
Is there something I can do to make that even more likely?
I actually don't think so. I think that what you've done is probably you're the least able to interact directly with these police investigations.
Yeah. All right.
Silverlanson, we need a professional check here. This is going to be reason. How well are you going to contribute to this? I mean, I have my idea about how well the police can operate on these things. You're pretty sure that they aren't going to be able to find every last little corner of this influence throughout the region. Let's see if Nina can make the difference.
Yeah, but she really goes into this for this, you know, with seeing the firsthand and so on, her hearing the how close it actually got.
Right.
Just gonna try for the yellow result with karma.
By the way, this was another one of these weird and depressing recent reports on crime in Europe that I was reading from.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but I think that part of what you described is what sometimes in media called crime as a service.
Yes.
But this is sort of the next layer down from like the actual like how do we actually recruit people? Like how do we make sure there are people to recruit?
Right.
Like that's the sort of thing. But let's hear. Reason yellow result karma. That's 83 dice.
So you rolled an 83.
Yeah, and she has excellent reason.
That puts you into the yellow.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were spending karma or not. I missed that.
I was. So I'm gonna lose 10 karma.
Okay. Well, the yellow result's pretty good.
Yeah.
So let's see. So I'd have to say that with your help, with all your characters' help, both in the last day or two and also right now, that you've probably butchered the network in terms of their immediate ability to do anything dreadful. Medoyan remains a little bit elusive. That's going to have to be a special effort of its own. I mentioned the statements of the fellows at the end of the day. 3 of them are remaining completely, they'll come up with some bullshit about how they had some sort of vendetta and it was all very personal. Sort of throw themselves, oh no, we're going to be deported back to our home country to face justice. That's terrible. Whereas the 4th guy is going to be swept up and sequestered and cocooned somewhere.
Yeah.
How about Vrinivi Vinden during the day? You're the one who's the most free.
Kevin really wants to first ask Teresa to be his girlfriend and then start an Instagram account.
With an Instagram account for
Vrinivi Vinden.
Ah, okay. I see. Well, the girlfriend thing is she's going to find that'll be a very strange request as far as she's concerned. That has been resolved already. And so that's, as far as she's concerned, you're just catching up.
Yeah.
Right. And she's only especially worried though. She thinks your mother doesn't like her.
Oh.
So
all right.
So that's a concern. I want you to smooth the way with
that's a nice touch.
Right. Well, your mother may have thought of her as a bit of a manipulator. There you were always whining about her all the time and all the rest of it. Your mom was probably pretty sick of Teresa by this point. Let's see here. I guess I have no choice. The roles, I will tell you a few things about roles that you guys don't see. Lund had been fighting periodically on a timed basis against the mind control. But it was weakening, and she finally got the role so that she could resist it. So I treat mind control as if it's a material object with its power, And then so that gives a set of points, and then you use your psyche to batter against it, just like you would use your strength to batter against a wall. Use exactly the same rules. And so she finally succeeded and was able to. The Madoyan had his check to figure out what was up with the taxes. Or rather, whether or not, and that's also funny too, because the network had just received the encounter that their taxes came back all, they had a tax problem in some important business. So he was already all messed up with that. He had his business roll, right? His reason roll modified by business to check that out. She had her roll to try to break the control. She succeeded. They both succeeded, but she succeeded better. So, in other words, she was able to break the control before he could get after her.
Yeah, right before.
Yeah. Otherwise, they would have caught her as she was trying to leave. Or if she had not been able to break the mind control, she would have been mindlessly or at least robotically carrying out the same old things. So that all worked out the way it did off screen, which is why the situation you encountered was the way it was.
Yeah.
Then we have someone else who had a bunch of roles to deal with off screen and how her relationship is going and all of her various difficulties. The fact that Vordal has had terrible intuition rolls the entire time, therefore has been rather, shall we say, has not handled her relationship well. She keeps failing her intuition check and saying the wrong things.
She's too stressed.
And so I have been dealing with her stress checks as her psyche rolls. And although she has very powerful psyche, I've been increasing the level every time something bad happens. The reason I'm bringing this up and letting you know is why we have gone all these days without Vordal descending upon you in a rage, because she's been succeeding, barely.
Oh, yeah.
Until tonight.
Oh my.
Which is when darkness comes early to Norrköping this evening.
Mm-hmm.
In a wave downtown, which curiously makes a curious, perfect circle of immunity to it at the Linköping Annex. Linköping University Annex is apparently in a perfect circle around it, is untouched by any of what I'm about to describe. So, which is basically to say this cloud of insects descends upon Linköping, and a set of the little horrific bug guys is going to tear into, well, as I said, Länsförsäkringar, police station, and here and there a few other places she happens not to like. But I did mention the police station, did I not?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. This was at the evening, right?
Well, I said it comes early.
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, right. So it would be during work hours. Or, well, they're only on a Sunday anyway, so I don't know, work hours really applies.
Not in a legal sense, no, but if we're talking chronologically, then yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
The point is that Janina is at work, so would be, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So yes, Nina is still at the police station. Mur may actually still be there as well. Kevin and go ahead. Actually, I should have checked this before. Let's make this retroactive. I should have made you use your fighting and other powers and claws at half strength. But I want you to do a reason check for Kevin right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized that I didn't penalize you for your screwy equipment.
30.
Your reason is remarkable, I think. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Well, those thugs got off a little bit. Should have been advantaged by your equipment being at half mast, at half power. Oh well. Damn. Here I thought I handled it perfectly, and I'd forgotten all about that.
Was
Okay.
that something from before, or
Right.
was
Remember,
it something
remember
that...
your equipment wasn't working when you very well when you showed Teresa.
Yeah, right.
Right. So I figured you would have fiddled with it beforehand, which is why I gave you a roll, but it didn't work very well. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. All right, I feel bad about that. Poor thugs. Okay, so so therefore you were fully effective against them rather than half effective. Okay, can't do everything right.
Yeah.
But the point is that you and Teresa are spending time together, and it's moving into the middle and late afternoon at this point. Probably designing the Instagram content, maximum effectiveness. Okay, Christopher.
Yes.
What are you going to do when people, weird reports start coming in from all through downtown, which are making no sense whatsoever to the police, of horrible clouds of insects and basically massive destruction, and that's when something powerful and concussive shakes the very walls of the huge, terrifying, Stalinistic monolith that is the police department in Norrköping.
Really is amazing.
I don't know who designed that thing. What psychopath actually made that building? I do not know.
I think it looks fine. But anyhow, Murr is going to be like, right, he's now going to release his statement to the police, like, just get Sato in or things like, yeah, this is what I know about what's going on. I've been trying to keep her handled, but Vordal has snapped, it seems. This is her approximate power set. I will try to go out and deal with her, because this is now like, yeah, this is what Boomslang could have been,
Right.
if they had just gone full bananas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll have to figure out what this fight for next time. Making it through that conference, that stressful conference, was heroic on her part. She did make it through that conference and deliver a good, solid talk and do all those things. So